Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
But what I really want to know is, T, what did you sleep in last night?
Oh, well, because I don't want to get assaulted, I wear a full-on chastity belt and layers and layers and layers of clothing. Leggings, sweats, shirts, sweatshirts.
So if a person was walking by a window, let's say, they couldn't look in and think you were trying to entice them into your room.
Well, I don't want to be seductive,
No, not when you're sleeping.
in my house, in my locked house. It's ridiculous.
The 80s was like the Wild West, man. It was like we were on the cusp of enlightenment in so many ways, but still really stuck in the dark ages in so many ways.
I mean, now people say that, when you're in the club, at least. Why were you wearing that in the club in public? It's come, into the outside public.
I think there's been enough education around it though now, right? People don't make that same accusation, do they?
Well, I would hope not, but in the privacy of your own home,
So you
my
think,
doors are locked, windows closed. I
yeah,
mean,
but
that's ridiculous.
what if it was hot and you were kind of glistening and you had your blanket off and you were sort
I had
of
my blanket off.
in a crouching position? I mean, it's a little enticing,
Is it?
like a child's pose, shirt off, some lace undies.
You're disgusting.
Yes, I am. Have you seen that art exhibit called like What I Was Wearing When I Was Raped to sort of make a point? And there's like children's clothes in that exhibit.
Oh, shit.
It's trying to make the point that people don't ask to be raped. They're not sending you signals with what clothes they wear. I should be able to walk freely down Rohnert Park Expressway, buck naked, and not expect to be touched by anyone else. I mean, that's illegal for other
Oh, we'll
reasons.
get arrested
Maybe the
probably.
police will touch me, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and Jennifer says it herself, your first boundary with people is your body, is our bodies. That's the first boundary that you have between you and someone else.
Yeah.
Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia,
Hello.
and today we're discussing episode 355 of the podcast. This is actually happening. What if you identified the wrong man?
Oh, I wish I knew the title.
A surprise?
This was all discovery for me, the entire story. And I come in fresh, so I had absolutely no idea what was gonna happen ever. I didn't know the title or anything.
Well, what's interesting to me, what I realized yesterday is restorative justice stories are like true crime with a happy ending. Do I think?
I mean, it's kinda complex, but yeah.
I mean, if we wanted to boil it down, I mean, it's dark, 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 dark. And then there is so much light when that healing comes through. And it's true healing. It's really connective healing. And I think that's why it really gives a proper ending to the story. Better so than, and now he's in jail for the rest of his life. Because people are still dealing with the trauma on their own. Just because that guy's off the street doesn't mean they're not still holding that space of why me, right? But anyways, let me get back to it. After a brutal assault in the 1980s, a young woman identifies the wrong man as her attacker, but once DNA evidence proves his innocence, they form an unlikely bond, determined to right their paths of justice. And this episode is the final in the 5-part series, A World Beyond Revenge, featuring 5 powerful stories of people from on both sides of a tragic incidents of imaginable, unimaginable harm who found healing through the groundbreaking process of restorative justice. And full disclosure, I work for the show. T doesn't. She comes in fresh. This show, Trauma Slash Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. And T, before I ask you what you thought the heart of Jennifer's story was, I just want to kind of hear, what have you thought about going on this journey of restorative justice in the 5-part series? What are your big takeaways? You guys can't see her, but T's like just pointing at herself like, me? You're asking me? Who else am I going to talk to?
I wasn't prepared for them. I wasn't prepared for this. I usually prepare for things.
How did you feel about the series as a whole?
It was very eye-opening for me. It's a whole other perspective that I'm totally unaware of. Probably a lot of unlearning for me. I would like to hear more, really. I believe in every time I heard the story, I was like, "Yes." I'd be interested in hearing stories of where maybe it didn't work, maybe. Not to be like that,
I
but
mean, maybe. It does sound like, though, everyone on both sides of the process
they have to agree.
are really conscientious, making sure everyone's in the right head spot for it,
Yeah,
making sure
they have to
people
yeah.
can handle the conversation, either, whether you've caused the harm or been the victim of the harm. Yeah,
Maybe it doesn't get to that point.
yeah. It sounds like there's so many really passionate people in the process, making sure that I think they're desperately trying to ensure that are not re-traumatizing people, that it is a positive experience. So, if there was probably even an inkling of a
Yeah.
doubt that it wouldn't work, they probably keep it from happening. I mean, I don't know, but that is interesting to wonder if there ever has been sort of a failed in-person meeting of but regardless, if it I don't know, I mean, how do you qualify it as failed or unfailed?
Well, there's something wrong with the system. The criminal justice system, there's something inherently wrong with it. This seems to be working. We need to change it.
Yeah,
And if this is a good first step,
let's try something new. I think what bowled me over and really convinced me is the storytellers themselves. Every story that we heard, every time they talk about this restorative justice process, it was with complete passion and light and joy and peace, like, it exuded from them. It wasn't something they were trying to sell, or you really believed that they believed in it, that it really did something incredible for them. So, the proof is in the people that experienced it, and if people are experiencing it with good outcomes, then let's go after it harder, because there's something that's missing right now. And if you think about these systems, again, the powers that be having crime victims, perpetrators. These boxes, these labels, these sections is just more ways to other us and keep us apart from each other. We are still humans. Humans make mistakes. Humans make evil, terrible, horrible decisions over and over again for bad reasons. To let victim and perpetrator come together to try to understand, it is some of the most powerful work done on the planet, probably. Anyway, we got lots of notes. Let's get into it.
I was gonna say, I think she gets to it at the end about, prison and mass incarceration, and is it really meant to change behavior?
Clearly not.
And does it do that? And it doesn't.
Clearly, it's not meant for that. I think it is there to punish and to give a false sense of security to the masses, and I think it oftentimes reinforces bad behavior and violent behavior. It reinforces segregation and separateness, and it gives nothing to the victim outside of, "We did it. We got the guy. Okay." You know?
Mhm.
So many offenders that haven't received actual rehabilitation, they do it again. It's called
This one was the hard one. I think you tried to say this last time too, and I don't think we ever got to it.
recidivism. What stuck out to the as the heart of Jennifer's story.
So, for the heart of this story, I went with one word, and that word is impression. So, the violence that she endured left a physical impression on her body, and she talks about it.
Yeah.
It changed her on a cellular level. And when we talk about leaving an impression, it speaks to the memory you leave, right? It also talks about how easily your memory can be distorted, right? It's just an impression you leave. Also, our initial impressions, can be so easily influenced by stereotypes, racial stereotypes, unconscious bias. And then in thinking about restorative justice, there's this possibility for new impressions, changing your perspectives, the idea of forgiveness, and finally, fresh starts. So that's why I chose the word impression as the heart of the story for this one.
Is it Monet an impressionist painter?
Yes,
Do those relate?
he is
Monet
an
is a
impressionist
beautiful
painting.
impressionist painting. What does it all mean?
I
Or like
I
on
yes,
Clueless.
yeah.
I'm relating these
Mhm.
because on Clueless, remember they called Amber a full-on Monet? And she's like, "What's that mean?" And she's like, "From a distance, she's really beautiful, but close up, she's a big old mess." Maybe
That's
that's our
exactly why
prison
I
system.
chose this word.
Anyways, good word. I know I'm helpful.
Thank you for
This
that.
is why we are the success that we
Really
are,
brings it all
because I
together.
only add to discussions, I don't derail them.
Mhm.
What stuck out to me is the heart of Jennifer's right. Whew, she had a lot of good one-liners, and I don't mean that, I'm not poo-pooing it or diminishing it at all. I mean, they're like, she was speaking a lot of truisms, but I loved how she described sort of the way that she grew up and the race relations that she observed and the messages that she was being given by community and family and just seeing your neighborhood split down the middle, the schools you go to, and she referred to this as the waters we all swim in, which I thought was just a brilliant way to describe sort of your own surroundings. If we're curious and we take a look around, we might see some things that start to make us go, "Hmm, that doesn't seem right." Right? Or that seems wrong, or and it sounds like she was a very curious person, and she
Mhm.
noticed these systems around her and the way that they kept races separate, the demonstrable difference in race. She talked about the the wealthy white owners on one side of the tracks and the poorer, black workers on the other side of the track. She saw this. So even though she's getting her grandpa saying the N-word and shit, and her mom's saying whatever she fuck she's saying, she's able to observe this world around her, these waters that she's swimming in, and she's able to make her own deductions and take things away from that, which I thought was really, really cool, and it further demonstrates that idea that the more bodies of water that you swim in, the more that you're going to observe about people, and it's so important to sort of leave your own body of water behind and go out into the world and experience other bodies of water so that, you I'm just replacing bubble every time I say water, but it is incredibly important to get to know other types of people. But secondly,
And, just to add to that though,
huh,
I like how you're saying, there's that
suspect.
little, you have that little,
Yeah,
"There's something
don't
in there,"
ask.
and then a lot of people just beat that down, like, "No, no." Yeah, yeah, and I think it's that, like, listening to that little
Yeah.
voice. It's like, keep keep
And
listening to that,
weirdly
because that little voice that you're
and
beating
and and
down
you're right, most people are
might have
apathetic,
something to
especially if
say.
they're on the wealthy white side. They're just going, "Thank God I'm on the wealthy white side," right? They're not trying to
Yeah.
change anything, they don't wanna lose their position. And secondly, it was just reiterating what she said, how race is layered in all of our systems, whether we wanna acknowledge it or not. And 3, full stop, abolish the death penalty. It's like us and like, I don't know, backward Talibanish regimes are the only countries in the world that still do this. Every other forward thinking progressive society these days, all other first world nations, second world nations, they have already done this. It's basically down to what she says. If there's a chance that an innocent person can be killed by the state, then the state isn't sound enough to decide to take someone's life because it's a finality that can't ever be undone. So until the system is perfect and it's like Minority Report where like you can read people's thoughts and know for sure if they did it or not, we shouldn't be killing people because we're actually not very good at figuring out who's guilty and who's not, you know? Turns out. I mean, how many exonerees have there been? If even one person is killed by the state and they were innocent all along, that's a system that should be undone, you know?
I know it.
And along those lines, and I'll just say it right now, she talks about how she was pro death penalty to complete opposite side, and that happened organically for her, and it happened organically for me too. I was, raised Christian, conservative, Midwest, white,
Ugh, God.
fully,
Sorry.
I heard
Everything you're
things
saying is
like
hitting me the wrong
pinko
way.
commie, bleeding heart liberals, like these were words that were spoken in my household, and so yeah, we were a house that
Oh,
believed in the death penalty, and I
God.
and I did as well, and it just took a lot of thinking and considering, over time to turn that thinking around. Now I know it's different when you're the victim of a crime. It might be really hard for you to get to that conclusion that you don't actually want the person that harmed you dead. That might be difficult.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Anyway, so 1933, dark times.
Oh, God.
So the
Everything was black and white then.
no, I just realized what you're saying.
That's how I picture it.
What's a corn crib?
I don't know. I was asking myself the same thing.
Let's look it up.
Is it corn in there?
It's a type of granary used to dry and store corn. Oh my god, they lived in one of those?
Is it small? It's very small?
It's like, it's like it looks like a silo. That's what they lived in. Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, they lived in there?
I mean, if you think about it, the stock market crash of 1929 happened, so this is probably like the height of the Great Depression by 1933. So people were suffering. And then this whole her dad going to college story? What kinda blindside story is this? Like, it's just incredible. And it made me think about, these important educators that he had in his life. He had one in high school that was said, "Hey, you're gonna read. That's all I want you to learn to do is read. Read, 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 read." And then 2, you had another educator who walked by him, said, "What you doing sitting there? Let's get you an education, no matter what." Made it happen.
Yeah.
People were so passionate about affecting lives through education, and now it seems like, well, at least the government wants to keep you dumb. It's like a complete 180 here. I mean, our own president tried to sign an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education, so you tell me if he wants you to
Ah,
stay dumb or not.
I know.
And her mom's father founded an oil company. How do I do that? Was he just, like,
I don't know, but that's amazing.
drilling in his
They didn't really
backyard?
get into the nitty-gritty of that. It's like, grew up poor, taught himself how to read. I'm like, "Okay, that's already seems hard." And then started it just doesn't go into, like, the deets. Just goes like, "Okay, taught himself to read, escaped poverty, started an oil company."
Yeah.
It's like,
If I
"Okay."
was on
Is
Reddit,
there, like, a
Reddit
how-to
subreddit side
here?
hustles, I would be in the comments going, "Wait a second, now what do you do?" Okay, so found an oil company, okay. How do I do that? Well, the how you do it, you have to buy this book
Step
where I explain how you
1.
do it. Oh, that okay, I got reading,
Like, I know how to read, so
oil,
there's
oil,
that.
oil.
Got that part down.
And so she talks about having this maid, Henny, who is Black, and her description of these very vivid details that kind of showed her otherness in the house was really 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 vivid. It really brought the whole you could kinda see it. So this was really important, one, how Jennifer observed Henny and their household, but two, that Henny could be this point of education for her, of socialization, of understanding the Black struggle that's in and around her, that Jennifer and her family are part of. How do you think that this informed Jennifer's feelings about race, T?
Oh, well, definitely that, you know, they're lower in the hierarchy of things.
Yeah. Something's awry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's like they didn't have a conversation about the whole bathroom usage, the different, like, cups they were using, or did they have a conversation about it and she just wasn't aware of it?
Well, it could be one of 2 things. One, yeah, her parents said this to Henny and Jennifer wasn't privy to that conversation, or 2, Henny knows how white people do, and so without being asked, made she professionally made herself scarce, I guess. She wasn't attempting to ingratiate herself into this family, even though, as Jennifer put it, she left her own babies to come take care of 4 white babies. But she recognized no matter how kind they were to her, even though they gave her a paycheck and put her in a uniform, they weren't her family. So it's probably it cou and it or thirdly, it could have been a boundary
Yeah.
set by Henny herself, you know? "I am going to keep this boundary. I am separate from them. They're not going to get to believe that I am somehow a part of them because I know I'm not."
Mm, yep.
What did why did you think it was important for Jennifer to notice that it seemed like they were on a budget, yet they were able to have this maid that came 4 times a week? What was she saying by making that like, illustrating that point? I mean, to me, it kind of goes to the crux of privilege, of white privilege, right? Like,
Mhm, mhm.
we are counting pennies, but it's below us to, like, take care of our children or make a meal or make a bed. So we're gonna continue that. We're gonna keep paying for that. We're not gonna give out that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think it's more sinister than we even
Oh,
think.
god. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah. There's a reason she noticed it, and there's a reason it was happening,
Yeah.
and there's a reason she's talked about it, and there was a reason Whit kept it in.
Yeah.
Okay, and then she talks about how there was something unbelonging about her, which I love that way of explaining it. Most kids feel this at some point in their lives, right? They don't belong. There's something I can't quite fix or change or be, that all the other kids seem to be able to just be that, and I don't know how to be it, so I have an unbelonging about me. That's and she gave her money to polar bears, and she cares about people. She has pen pals, and it's because she's fat.
Not just 'cause she's fat,
No,
'cause she cares about people too.
just kidding. That was the next thing she said. She has an overweight kid, which, I mean, that I resonated with this a lot, never feeling comfortable or enough, feeling like you always have to prove your worth because you kinda lead with your fat. You can't help it. You walk into a room, it's on you. You can't get rid of it, and people are gonna make judgments around that. And her own father, pointed it out to her that she
God.
was less than somehow because she had extra body.
You'll win a whole new wardrobe
Oh,
if you lose the weight.
fuck you, dad.
It's like, "Oh my
When I was
god.
16, my dad said if I could do one man's push-up, he would buy me a Porsche.
What?"
Let me tell you, T, I do not own a Porsche, nor have I ever owned a Porsche or even came close to
Did
owning
you
a
then?
Porsche. One
Dude,
man's push-up.
oh my
It
god.
was one of those things where I was
That's
probably doing
that's
a workout in front
mean.
of my dad, and I was doing probably really bad female push-ups, and he probably said, like, "That's not very good form," and then I was like, "No, I'm doing it right," and he's like, "You couldn't do one man's," and I'm probably going, "Yeah, I can, you can," and then that's how that I can imagine that's how that conversation
Yeah, I'm okay.
went.
It's like that.
And this
Okay.
made her a bit of a rebel, and and she observes that the misogyny came from her mom, the racism came from her mom and her mom's family. I mean, we all have internalized misogyny. Women are can be ruthlessly misogynistic. I notice it in myself all the time. Like, it's something I've actively been trying to capture those feelings and thoughts for years and cast them out as soon as they come in.
Maybe in our generation now.
I think
Maybe it's
so.
in our I don't know if it's in the
Oh,
younger
yeah.
generations these days. I don't know.
I think
Is it
people
still, ugh,
I keep thinking,
I was hoping it would
yeah,
fade.
this shit should have been figured out by now. Like, I'm getting up there in age, and I still can't believe how badly
Still
we've
happening.
not progressed in so many things. I mean, now there are people on TikTok that will yell at you about your microaggressions,
It's
which they didn't
unfortunate.
have back then, so maybe that's the difference? Seriously, can I just say I'm so tired of being yelled at on TikTok. Like, I can't. It's not for me. It's the people that come on and they're like, "Let me tell you about
Are you
this."
getting yelled at? What are you doing?
I mean, granted, I might look up controversial things, but, like, I don't know, I've been watching and I'm not on TikTok, I do Reddit, so just stuff gets pollinated from TikTok. I can't actually go on the TikTok app because it is so just startling and too much is going on and everything happens too quick that it's just not good for my brain. I can't take it in. I want to be able to choose to click on something. I don't want it pushed in my face. Let me click. Let me click. Don't don't give me that look like you're so old. But what I will say is this, without indicting any systems or peoples or things, if you don't look at the world and you don't see this clear, extreme delineation of white landowners and business owners on one side and poor black workers on the other side, if you don't look at that and go, something is suspect, I don't know what to tell you. We don't have to get into why or how or what, but we should be able to look at that and objectively go, Something went wrong. Something is wrong. This is actually happening."
It's actually happening.
The waters I was swimming in. It's good. And Jennifer talks about how she's able to talk to Henny about Henny's experience of this life and what she deems the truth. And Jennifer herself became really interested in slavery, learning about Harriet Tubman, wanting to understand how this could happen to people. In high school, she's friends with everyone. That's how I was.
Totally.
That's how you were, T. And because she's fat, she accepts trash, which I've also done a lot in my life. And she was in a 3-year violently abusive relationship. And we often do accept this behavior because deep down we think it's what we deserve and we aren't good enough to be treated well.
Mhm.
We say that to ourselves even though we don't think that about anyone else. We would I mean, you were right. We would never treat someone differently because they were fat or short or I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know where else to look.
You've been looking at me the whole time, okay.
Yeah, we don't think anyone else should live like that or behave like that, but we accept it for ourselves, is my point. But thank God for Weight Watchers, 'cause then she gets cute, and her mom's a little jealous biatch,
Mom hates that. Weird.
and because she got hot, she got sexually assaulted her first year of college.
I'm so glad I was never hot.
I know, I'm glad I kept my fat a bit longer, 'cause a fat body in her underwear sleeping is way less at risk way less at risk than a thin, cute body in her undies.
And that's this is getting dark.
Well, that's what people say and think. So, isn't it absurd? It's absurd when I say it. It's absurd when I say it, and I'm not even saying it in a court of law. I'm just saying it here.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
She talks about how this husband getting a husband checks a box for her. That really resonated with me as well. We kinda did it for different reasons. She says it's safety and protection, and for someone that sort of maybe grew up feeling less than, for me, it was, "Oh, I'll be perceived as normal." I just wanted to be perceived as normal, and if I have a husband, then they can't tell me I'm not cute enough to get a man because 'cause I've got a whole fucking husband, and then once that sort of fades away, like, "Oh god, now I got this husband," that's when you get divorced.
Hmm. This guy sucks.
Ugh. Who wants a
Wait a minute.
husband? That's terrible. But it sounds like he was like he divorced her because he was a young hot jock and he got into it and he's like, "Wait, what did I do? I've got all this hot tang like hitting me up on campus. Why am I married? Idiot." Okay, so let's talk about the night in question.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah.
I've lived on my own many years. Um, I'm currently in a relationship where my man is gone oftentimes too too late, so I go to bed before he gets home, and sometimes I listen to these stories or I watch stories, and I am really paralyzed in fear. That is, like, a great fear of mine to be woken up by a stranger in my
Yeah.
room. I mean, that's I think most women, nay,
Oh, yeah.
people feel that way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting the way she
Yeah.
describes, like, how
Oh,
your
for
brain
sure.
is, like, trying to make sense of it, right? Like, first she's like, "Oh, the frat boys, they're so funny, ha, ha, ha." God, can you imagine having to go to college in the '80s? We never would have made it. My uncle ate a goldfish to get into his fraternity in Purdue, you know? Um,
Oh my god.
yeah, it's terrible.
No, yeah, people were just
80s
walking
are
into your room. In
nasty.
the dorm
Oh, yeah.
room or even your apartment. If you're
Oh,
having a
for
party,
sure.
people are just walking right in like no big deal, and you're sleeping.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Just waking you up.
She says, "I don't want money," and he said or no, she says, "You want money?" And he says, "I'm not here for money." Oof.
Yeah.
To would be woken up and then to basically be told you're about to be assaulted, nay, possibly die tonight. How does your brain even start to wrap around that? And the way she described what she did to sort of check out of the experience is really fascinating. Is it gonna hurt? Imagining her dad having to identify her body, herself in the morgue, like, and she is a smart cookie.
Mhm.
How come we don't call men smart cookies? Is there like a reciprocal term for a man? Like, could you say he is a handsome steak?
Well, maybe we can be able to call men smart cookies too then.
Oh, maybe brownies?
No, let's just
Same,
across the board
same,
smart
same
cookies.
genre.
That'd be easier. Yeah.
Smart Jello. He is a bowl of smart Jello. That Daryl. Big bowl of potatoes. He's like a big sack of mashed potatoes. That Daryl keeps his wits about him.
Sack of potatoes.
There was a character on 90 Day Fiancé. I I forget who it was. Someone
Here we
recapping
go.
him said he looked like a bag of potatoes, and that was such a spot on description. I would never body shame someone, but he was really gross and mean and terrible outside of his body, and that just stuck with it stuck to me as a really descriptive quit making a face at me. Okay,
What? I don't know. I didn't know I was making a
sorry,
face.
I'm injecting humor because it's such a dark night. Everything she was saying should have led to an outcome where the right
Yeah.
perpetrator is captured, right? She's really remarkably
Mhm.
astute
Mhm.
in this attack. She knew not to fight. She knew to examine him really well, to say, "I have a fear of knives," to talk to him and ask him to do something as a human being, to make sure she kept her blanket on because she was planning her escape and saying, "I'm cold," and then to go potty and see him in the light and run the water and get him a Seagram's and then realize that the door's probably open, so she's gonna run out of it. I mean, brilliant. I mean, obviously, you don't wanna go through it at all, but if you have to, like, it seems like she's done everything that she should do.
Yeah, and this whole time she's remembering she's remembering everything about him as much as she can. By the way, as she's
Yeah,
describing him,
yeah.
and as I'm picturing this happening, he's a white man in my head.
Oh, before you knew he was black.
I'm just
when you
letting you
first
know.
listened to it?
I'm just letting you know he's a white man
Oh,
for me
oh,
right now in my head as I'm listening. Yeah.
this is interesting
And I'm
because
yeah, just letting
I
you
knew
know.
he was black already, but I thought it was compelling that she doesn't say he's black in her description of him in what we hear in the episode. I think we all try to imagine what we would do in a situation like this. I mean, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think most people just freeze. Freeze, take it, and hope they live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine I might be funny. I don't know, because I was really funny when I was being mugged at gunpoint.
Oh god.
So,
Yeah.
who knows? Let me ask you this, T, would you open the
Yeah.
door to a screaming, banging on your door girl wrapped in a blanket?
Oh my god.
Sounds like a trap.
Yeah, I know. But
I don't know.
maybe.
And she says his shadow is he's passing by the house. They keep seeing his shadow. This guy,
Yeah.
he's got a fucking hubris on this guy, this bravado of this guy. Like, he felt entitled to a woman's body that night, and he was gonna get it no matter what, and he didn't get enough with her, so he had to go out and get another one. He's got no fear, this guy.
Yeah.
It's fucked. So, you've been hard-R'd, you were able to escape, you the police come, and now you're at the hospital, and now you're gonna be traumatized in a different way. And think of 1984, not the
Mhm.
book, the year. This is especially shitty for the I mean, this is before we knew
I
anything
know.
about anything. No one was trained in how to take care of a victim. The doctor's pissed because he can't disturb the delicate genius. And this is where she really says some really incredible lines, like, she wished
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about it this
and
way.
it's so perfectly spot on. "I wish they could just take my skin. My body was the crime scene. Our bodies are the first line of our boundaries.
Yeah.
The trauma changed her on a cellular level."
Mhm.
And she hears this other woman, "Yeah, I just wrote this guy, he goes for another one, this guy." Like, can you imagine I mean, I know you
I
can't, but can you
know.
imagine hard R-ing someone and then roaming the neighborhood for another one? Like, when you know the police have come to pick up the other like, what are you doing, man? Like, clearly something's unglued, or you just had a ferocious appetite that night. Jennifer is a good witness. And she was I mean, what she described in the attack, she should have nailed this. Composite sketch.
Yep.
And I think she explains this really well later, how, you know, even though you remember so many things about him, these are just samples that they're drawing from, and if they don't have the exact sample, if you've got 8 different things on a face slightly askew, that's a totally different face. It's the little things on our face that give us the character and make us look
Totally.
who we are. So then, once she gets the sketch done, and then now she's handed pictures, and she's not looking in her mind at the memory of that night, she's looking at the sketch she made. So who in the picture looks like the sketch? And then she gets that's a
Mhm.
good job, honey, that's who we thought it was," right? So now it's confirmation bias.
Oh, wait, can I just say, um wait, are you
Yeah,
talking
the
about
6-pack.
the photo lineup now?
Oh,
The
yeah, the
6
woman that
the
calls in the
six-pack? Yeah,
tip,
sorry, just right before
who we found
that,
out later was just a shill of
well,
someone that didn't
yeah,
like black men
she
dating white women.
yeah. Yeah, they say well, I
Mhm.
guess they find out that he had a proclivity for white women, right? Still thought it was a white
Huh,
man.
this white guy
Um,
really likes white woman, that's weird.
she said that,
A
and
weird
then she
detail to
said
point out.
so she said that So she says that, and then she said, "That'll come up that'll be important later on." And I'm like, "Okay." It's still in my head. She said that, and it's still in my head. Thinks it's I think it's a white man still. Just letting you know. So it's still he's still a white man in my
Also,
head.
though,
Just letting you know,
and
this
tell
is
me
still
if I'm way
happening.
off here. Well, I was gonna say
That's my own racial bias, I
well,
think.
and his shoes and his outfit make him sound white too. He's wearing, like, khaki Dockers and
Yeah, I was like, "Okay." So, definitely still I was like, "Okay, this white dude likes white women. Okay, fine." I'm still so I'm just letting you know.
right, so this cop has we find out later, this cop has a woman call in
Yeah.
and say Ronald Cotton. Now, that puts him in the minds of the investigators, right? So, when she's picking stuff out of
Mhm.
pictures and lineups and stuff, it's just, like, constantly reinforcing the name that they want, that they're fixated on.
So the photo, though, th
The
the photo
photo they
has
show her,
his
he's
outfit on,
wearing a
right?
similar type of
Right?
shirt. Short
A
his
blue
hair is shorter.
and his hair is shorter, though
Yeah.
his current this is from 3 years prior, the photo, but his
Yes.
current
Did was that a clue for
haircut
you?
is more of an afro. So I was like, "An afro?"
Is he
I was
Jewish?
like, "Afro?" So then I saw a white man
A
that's
Jewfro.
so I saw, like, a curly hair, like yeah, it was like a Jew like, I didn't say Jewish in my head, I just
Okay.
thought it was a curly hair fro.
Fascinating. Well, good for you, T.
Yeah.
So by the time she sees the physical lineup, she's remembering the composite sketch, which is based off of a lot of tiny inaccuracies of what she actually remembered. So it's like a memory of a memory of a memory. And again, she's getting, "Good job, girl, you're doing it," from the cops. So she thinks that this is all on the up and up and that this crime has been solved and yay, justice, right?
Oh, god.
So their one-way glass thing was being remodeled. So they put him in a big open gymnasium with the folding table.
Like, why the folding table in between? Like, that's gonna be protection or something?
It's such a weak ass alternative. Like, they couldn't figure out a safer, like, more comparable way to do this.
The '80s was
The
like
'80s was off the charts, man. I
I
mean,
know.
people elected an actor from president. It's not like
Oh,
today
yeah.
at
It was
all.
the Wild West, the '80s.
Well, and then
Now let's go to an abandoned school. Like, they didn't even do it in the police they just went to, like, the scariest place. Like, I think of an abandoned school, like, where there's, like, ghosts and stuff. Anyways,
oh, one of those well, they couldn't have gone to a
there's, like, standing water there, you know?
oh, you're really imagining, like, a Scooby-Doo episode. Well, they couldn't go to another precinct and borrow their room for this all-important
There's
lineup?
only the one
It's
for
weird.
miles. Wild.
It is? Did you Google map it or something?
No, I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. But that seems terrible, and if I was going to face not only my perpetrator, but possibly 6 other criminals,
Yeah,
that seems like a scary room to go in.
yeah, you're supposed to ID them, they're not supposed to ID
Yeah,
you.
bingo.
Like, noted.
That's a bingo. So we're starting to understand how it settled on Ronald. Obviously, that call that was set up by the police, and now her memory has been skewed. And then add into the whole equation that he's just got out of prison. So, and then she's got this point of view, and I think we all had this at some point in our lives growing up. Oh,
Yeah,
if someone's in a jumpsuit, if they're in prison, it's because they're guilty. Surely the police have done their jobs. And then we all have to go through that "ah, fuck" moment where we realize, wow, it is possible to get it wrong. And I think in the last couple decades, with the obsession of with true crime, etc., and people really analyzing cases of wrongfully incarcerated, we've all become a little bit more educated about how the police can get a narrow
Tunnel vision or
tunnel thank you. They get tunnel vision on a suspect instead of continuing to work the case and check other leads and witness, do police work, like boots on the ground kinda thing. They just keep trying to find ways to add evidence to that guy, right? So we understand how we got here, and now we're at the trial, and we've already thoroughly discussed the "What did you wear to bed that night?" Yes, you. "What did you have for dinner that night?" "Noodles?" "Oh, you were you hoping for a sexy
she's the
lady
real criminal. She should get arrested. Is that what you're saying, sir?
were you hoping for a Lady in the Tramp moment with a stranger who walked by your window? You whore." Anyway, the jury says guilty.
What are you trying to get with that, you know? You're grasping there.
Oh, yeah. So, jury says guilty, they celebrate. Hello. Close it up. You're all closed up. Close her up. You're healed, you're done. Go on your merry way, live your life. But she didn't have closure, and she sought that closure in booze and coke. Some of us just do that for fun, but she needed it to cope with the pain. Her boyfriend sucks, he's not help, the family won't ask because they don't talk about shit like that. Sounds like her friends kinda sucked as well. They're like, "Ooh,
Like, I
Jennifer.
thought this was over.
Tragic Jennifer, Debbie Downer Jennifer." So she's alone, she's trying to cope, and her PTSD is off the chains, and it shows up in all kinds of ways. She loses her job, she doesn't go to class, and as she describes it, "I was about dead," which, again, beautiful way to put that.
Mhm.
And after one big bender, she decided she was gonna take her life back, and she totally turned everything around. We don't need to talk about the second trial, right? Do we? Is there s I mean, I don't okay.
Well, that's for me when I was like, "Wait a minute." That's when I started realizing something's awry.
Awry.
Yeah. Because there's, like when Ronald was like, "Wait, there's it wasn't me," right? That was the other trial, right? When he's like, "It's somebody else, this Bobby Poole guy," right? That's when I was like, "Why is she talking about this?" And that's when, so things were clicking, like, "Wait,
Oh.
Afro?" And then that was when I was like, "Is this about mistaken identity?"
Uh, uh-huh.
And then all those, like, psychology classes I took in high school or whatever started to come up where, like and all those other, like, What Would You Do's and Datelines, all those shows where, like, uh, somebody comes into the class and, robs the teacher and then, runs away, and then they're like, "What was he wearing? What did he look like? What" and then everybody got it wrong.
That
Have you
ex
seen those?
Yeah, no, that experiment was played
Yeah.
in that documentary that Frontline
Oh,
made that Jennifer talks about, that What Jennifer Saw. So that whole
oh,
point of that piece is about
okay.
misidentification and faults in memory, and I
I haven't
watched it.
seen that.
Yeah. So they show that exact experiment. They show the guy, they show the
Oh,
class, they talk about, you know what people were like, "He was light-skinned, he was dark-skinned." Someone yells from the back, "I thought he was white."
yeah.
So,
It's totally
yeah.
everyone gets it wrong or
Everyone
different or
gets it
whatever.
wrong.
It's like
But
yeah,
wildly, it
that's when I was like, "I think he's black, actually," and then I was so confused.
wow.
And that's where when it clicked for me.
Now, I do wanna point out to our listeners and to you as well, T, although T does come in as fresh as possible, she probably could take a clue or 2 from the link that she's emailed from
Oh,
Whit. And
what did the
in the
link say?
email, the title of this file
What?
of
Let me
Jennifer's
see.
episode is Up 355, Wrongful ID.
Oh, shoot. Let me see.
But you only look at that once, and if you have no context for it, you probably don't even remember that you read it until later. Because once you get past the link, you're just in it.
Oh. Oh, yeah, there it is.
So those
Yeah.
link titles
I'm
never
just
give
like
you a
blue.
clue?
I'm like, "Blue, click."
Oh, good, it's blue. Click it.
That is a good clue.
I mean, this felt like a waste of taxpayer money, like, this was just a show, because before they bring in Bobby Poole, the prosecution already knows, 1, that Bobby Poole is gonna go into court and say, "He didn't do it," and then 2, each of the witnesses, the the victims that are there, Jennifer and the other woman, they also know ahead of time that they're gonna say it wasn't him. So this was just a show to fulfill the reason it had been overturned, because the jury hadn't heard about the 2nd victim, right? So it was more or
Mhm.
less a show. So now Ronald's, like, been convicted even harder. They're like, "You're
Double.
really convicted now." And as Jennifer puts it, he's sentenced to death by incarceration. Whew.
Right, and they're like, "Do you recognize this guy, Bobby Poole?" It's like, "No, I don't recognize him at all."
At all.
But how about Ronald? Yeah,
Yep,
I
that's the one.
definitely yeah. Ugh, brutal.
Yeah. And her life keeps carrying on. She has these triplets, and they kind of ground her and keep her moving on. And then in 1995, this little thing called DNA comes to the light that the police are using
Dinner,
to solve crimes, and they're
dinner,
dinner.
dinner,
What's the
dinner,
dinner? What's in your
dinner,
dinner?
dinner, dinner, dinner.
And mind you now, Ronald has been away for a decade, and he has maintained his innocence the whole time and never wavered on his story. So he in the PBS, the Frontline special, again, I highly recommend you guys watch it. I can put a link to it in our show notes. It's on YouTube, so it's free. His lawyers were like, "Are you sure you wanna do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, I wanna do it, because innocent people are more than happy to share their DNA to get out of prison," right? And sure enough, it was
Yeah,
Bobby
she
Poole.
was more than happy to do it too. She's like, "Yeah,
Yeah, let's
let's
do
put
it.
this to bed."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "What the hell?"
So it turns out it is Bobby Poole. Ronald has been wrongfully incarcerated for the last decade, and Jennifer effectively put him there, but it was the system that put him there. There was a lot of factors at work that put him there, but can you imagine that feeling as a victim to find out that you were wrong? Like, you were so certain. You're a smart person, you're a capable person, you're not a racist person. You did everything you were supposed to do, everything, and to find out you got it so wrong and you've taken a significant portion of a man's life from him. Oh, girl, if you weren't boozing and coking then, you are now. Thank God you had those kids.
Yeah. Well, probably not. Yeah, yeah.
And around this time, 1995, this idea of wrongful conviction wasn't in the zeitgeist. It wasn't something that was talked about. The Innocence Project was new to most people. And so this was really compelling case, and it got a lot of notoriety, and the narrative that was happening was, "Ronald, oh my god, what was that like? And what about this bitch that put you away?" Like, that was the
Yeah.
narrative. And then she took some time to explain, like, how memories are trace evidence, which we talked about for a bit. So, in 1996, when this Frontline documentary people came to her to make what Jennifer saw, she agreed to do it. So, again, highly recommend it. But this was a big turning point for her, because she knew that, because she, even though she was trying to be really, really small and stay out of the whole thing, she knew she had to participate now, or someone was gonna get her story wrong, her side wrong.
Mhm.
But she still was afraid of Ronald. She was afraid
Oh, yeah.
he would have a feeling of revenge toward her for getting it wrong. Then they get in 1997, they get to have their restorative justice moment, which, oh my god, can you imagine? Ronald says he forgives her right away. I mean, T, let's talk about you and your forgiveness issue. If you were wrongly ID'd and put away for a decade and met the person that did that to you, could you have forgiveness for someone like that?
I'm not sure, especially 10 years of your life gone.
But what if you were a smart, reasonable person who could see that who failed you wasn't the Vic, it was the system, and it was Bobby fucking Poole? Would you're a smart person, you're an intelligent person, I would say. Would you be able to accept that as true and not have any blame in your heart for the person that sent you away? Knowing everything, would you not still I'm trying to get to the point, would you not still have, like, a little bit of a
A little, I mean,
Bitch,
a
you was
little,
part
because
of it.
she was manipulated, you know, a little. I would have a little bit, but if it weren't for her saying and believing it and seeing my face and saying my face looked like the face
Of the
of her
faith.
attacker,
Yeah.
I mean, she was the final decision maker there.
It's crazy to me that memory is counted as trace evidence because it is so flawed, and if you think about it, this case, Jennifer was the perfect victim in a lot of ways because she was paying attention, she wasn't panicking, she was looking at her attacker. If she's gonna get it wrong, then the rest of us haven't got a chance in hell
Yeah.
of making it through a case where we're wrongfully ID'd, and, I mean, it could happen to anybody. No, that's not true. It will never happen to me. It will never happen to you. I
You
shouldn't
don't
say
think?
stuff like that. I
I
mean,
don't know.
part of the case that was built against Ronald had to do with his race. I mean, that's where the heart of the case started. That's where the motivation of some of these other items were included.
I mean, that's the whole thing about that what you're talking about, and I'll watch the what Jennifer saw, but that's the whole thing. That guy, and I don't know what race he was, but ran in, robbed the teacher, right, and ran out. Every single person had a different perspective. Like, I have no idea what I would think the person looked like. It's such a shock, right? And you're seeing it, everyone's watching it happen.
The eyewitness testimony is considered a huge pillar of a case that's being built.
Of course, but I'm saying when you say you and I would have an accurate just because you're saying are you saying that we would have an accurate
No, I'm saying I'm pointing to our privilege. No, not that we're, like, distinguishable or I mean,
No, no, oh, I
girl.
was saying that you would that you sorry, I was saying that you thought we would be able to identify what someone looked like.
No, 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 no. I was just merely saying that the misidentification was part of it, but the initial part of it was steeped in racism. That's what brought the name up. That's what brought Ronald Cotton into the conversation at all, and we don't have to well, sorry, you are another you're not white. I don't know why I keep
Ellie
talking to
thinks
you
I'm a
like you're
white
white.
man. She's looking straight at me. Talk about misidentification. We're on video, and she's staring at my face, and she thinks I'm a white man.
Say saying our white privilege, T.
She literally is looking at me and sees a tall white man.
Nope.
I'm not, just so you guys know. I'm a woman and I'm brown and a lesbian. She also thinks I'm a straight man. Just saying, just to clarify.
Mm.
I'm so
So,
confused.
let's lea let's leave that
I don't know what
behind.
we're talking about anymore.
We're just trampling all over their beautiful restorative justice moments. I mean, this is where you hear the passion about RJ. You know, she says she could literally feel herself healing from the inside. And she points out that Bobby Poole wasn't gonna be accountable for what happened to them, and the system wasn't gonna be accountable for what happened to them, so it was on their shoulders to do it together, to find accountability, to find the end of it, to find healing together, because no one was gonna apologize to them. It's really fucking profound. And then she says, "Okay, this is when the interviews together started happening," and she makes this amazing line where she says, "And the world was happy to beat her to a pulp." Remember, guys, people
Yeah.
are racist, but people
Oh,
also hate
yeah.
women. So this is the perfect show. You know, have Ronald and Jennifer on the stage together. You get to demonstrate you're not racist, and you get to beat the hell out of a woman verbally. I mean, it's like and she's good looking, and she's blonde, like, she falls into all yeah, because when you hear the bits and nuts and bolts of this story, on the face of it, you think, "Oh, just a white woman screaming, you know, crying wolf. Oh, I'm just a pathetic white woman." Like, what a pathetic
Mhm.
bitch, basically, instead of knowing the details of how she
They
got there.
forget,
And
what
she's
happened.
yeah, Like, what motivation? It's it's
Mhm.
absurd, you know? And the and to pile on top of that, when the rape is discussed, she's getting
Oh my
said all
god.
terrible things to her. Like, people are so fucking numb.
I
Like,
can't
numb.
believe the things that they're saying,
You didn't die, how bad could it be?
right?
Rape isn't that bad.
Oh my god.
You can have a orgasm when you get raped, right? Well, at least you had good
It's like a
taste.
is this a compliment? Are you complimenting me?
And then the more unfriendly misogynist just go straight for what the other friendly misogynist won't say, "I will find you and rape you too, and you're a racist." So she's getting all kinds of ways of getting
And then we're in the
insulted,
90s.
and no one's pointing to Bobby Poole
Yeah.
saying, "That's who harmed
No.
everyone here,
Coming at her. Coming
including
at her.
Ronald." So for her to keep going, like, if I had one interview and I got asked any of those questions and got called a racist and asked if I was gonna kill myself, I think I would go to my manager and be like, "Can we cancel the rest of those interviews, and I'm gonna go far, far away with my kids and never watch TV or read a magazine or look in a computer ever again?" I mean, her balls to keep going and to get to a point where she pushes back and she demands his picture be up behind her so that she can point the visual. He's the one. Talk about
Oh,
him.
yeah.
My kitties do not like me recording. I don't even know where you are. They're like, "Why aren't you paying attention to us?" Okay, right? I mean, she's a kind of a
Oh, she
she's a
is.
super badass to keep going, keep and then to turn the narrative on its head. That's pretty ballsy. And it demonstrates again, like, how important this was to her. And it was important for her to shine light on what happened to Ronald, not just her, but Ronald too. They were in this together. It's such a unique, wild situation. It's wild. Like, when we first were brought this story, I was I was bowled over. Like, when you just hear it without knowing the details just on the face of it, and then they wrote a book together, and it's called Picking Cotton, and I'm like, "What kind of what is this racist shit?" You know? Like, you just little bitty things. It's
They wrote a book together.
so they wrote a book together, it's called Picking Cotton,
Wow.
because
Yes.
Ronald's last name is Cotton, and they talk a lot about the race issue of it
Wow.
all, and that's kind of next on what I wanted to talk
Are they
about.
like buds now? They're like, "Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god."
Yeah. And if you go to the Instagram, Actually Happening, there is a picture of them together on that Instagram, at Actually Happening.
They like do they like hang out?
I don't know how deep it goes.
That'd be so cool, I'm just saying. If they're like they hang out and go to bars
Yeah,
and I don't know.
and then people are like, "How did you guys meet?" And they're like,
Yeah, this is crazy. Now that would be
"Have we
that's
got a tale for you?"
yeah, now that's better than our story.
Yeah, way better. So race, believe it or not, is an issue. It always has been, probably always will be. The cops hated Ronald. Why did the cops hate Ronald? Because he liked dating their white women. She makes the point that systems tend to only care about white bodies and what happened to them, and this is evident in all manner of things, especially when it comes to missing cases of missing girls, missing women. Black and brown women and girls are woefully underrepresented in that kind of, like, media coverage. You get someone like Gabby Petito, right?
Mhm.
Who blonde, small, pretty, encapsulates sort of like purity and like the start of a new age and America and pie and all that shit and she
Mhm.
that had worldwide coverage. How many black and brown women were disappeared by their boyfriends, and we didn't
There's that
hear
show
a thing about it.
was it on Netflix now about her? Yeah. Haven't
Yeah,
watched it. Oh, you did watch
yeah,
it?
I watched it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. Is it
Yeah,
good? Oh.
it's good. It's pretty good. I mean, did you end up watching the full clip of the officers, like, body cam footage of when they pulled them over after there had been a report that, a man was beating a girl in a parking lot or whatever. There's body cam footage.
No, I don't think so.
It's like a 20-minute long video. You can like, because remember, this is before her body was found that weekend
Yeah,
that
I
the
think I remember
searches
that.
started. That's
Yeah, yeah.
everything on media.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything was, "Where's Gabby?" Everything. And they play they this footage was circulating because it's so fascinating because you're capturing the moment where
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
everything could have been done differently and changed and handled differently, and you really start to understand the dynamics of the relationship, and I don't why am I going on and on about this? Clearly, the gummy is kicking in.
No,
Yeah, how many brown and black women were also disappeared by their boyfriends that weekend that we did not hear a
didn't hear
thing about?
anything, but we know the intimate details, and there's shows about it.
We know a lot. I watched that 20-minute body cam footage, so
Yeah,
I mean, that goes to show you.
I
Interested
haven't, but
party here.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm. And isn't it true that no victim wants an innocent person in prison?
that's true, yeah.
Can we not say that categorically? Unless it's like a Gone Girl thing where you're trying to frame your dirty husband. I don't know.
Rare, it's rare,
99%
yeah.
of people don't. It's rare.
Or Ben Affleck, I mean,
And she says what fucking Troy said to us. But she uses different ones. She says joy,
mm,
healing, love is an
yes,
inside job. Troy told us that
yes.
peace is an inside job. And this is where she goes on about belonging to herself and it's beautiful and I loved hearing it and it's not anything new but I don't want to belabor it. And then she talks about her movement to abolitionist for the death penalty, which we kind of
Mhm.
talked about already. And her big thing is she started this nonprofit called Healing Justice. There are links to that in the this is actually happening show notes. Their big push is to start restorative processes earlier, and I think that's so key. I mean, imagine in middle school forcing kids that are at odds with each other to have a conversation and find out why. It might be too much emotional and intellectual heavy lifting for the kids, and you might have a struggle getting the parents to allow those kind of conversations to happen, especially when they're trying to criminalize empathy at this point. They've already said it's a sin, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean when I say they.
What?
T's looking at me
They're
like, "What the
criminalizing
fuck are
empathy
you
right now?
talking about?" Yeah.
Oh,
Right now, they're just villainizing it. There's this thing called the sin of empathy that's been going around in conservative circles. They don't want kids to learn empathy in school. They don't want it. It's part of the woke mind virus. Yes, that your face says it all. She's dumbfounded, y'all. She's fully dumbfounded, and not just a usual way, like a more pointed way.
well, I don't remember which episode it was though, but someone was talking about how we can even start it even before high school or what I mean, we're talking like kindergarten and not I mean, not restorative justice specifically, but like the language and
But
yeah,
restorative
like elements
processes,
from
yeah,
restorative
the
justice. I mean,
in
exactly.
conflict,
Yeah,
understanding the why of it all,
not just
and having
punishment.
conversations about how it
Not
makes
just
you
going straight
feel.
for punishment, but understanding,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think that's too woke or something, I guess. Oh, that's too woke anyway.
Oh, it's way too woke.
Well, I'm still going for it. I'm still going for it, the empathy thing.
I think that's the way to fight the non-empathy is as much empathy as we can muster. Teach your kids. I mean, of course, capitalism doesn't want you to be empathetic. You don't wanna be concerned about your workers not being able to afford food and rent. You just got to focus on the dollar.
Mhm.
Now, I thought what she said at the end here was really powerful. And this is something I hadn't really ever thought about. You know, with DNA, we got all these exonerees. Was there any kind of co like, meeting between an exoneree and a person that helps put them there, or was or mi did a misidentification? Like, we just focus on these things like they're 2 separate things, and they're not deeply intertwined together. We just go, "Oh, well, we found the real perpetrator, so she's fine," and, "Well, he got out of prison, so he's fine."
Never.
And they're not supposed to meet each other? Their whole beings
Yeah.
are connected at a deep level that only they 2
Yeah.
can understand. Why are we not putting these parties together? And that's something that her
Oh.
nonprofit is working
Love
on and
that.
working toward, which
Yeah.
I think is beautiful. Because again, what we are all humans. We all we are all capable of making grievous mistakes. And if you put us together so we can understand each other, it drives and builds community. And community gets us belonging. And from belonging, we can find healing.
Mhm.
It's so fucking obvious.
Right?
I still like thinking about the series as a whole, I still can't believe that when Whit came to me and said, "Hey, I want to do a restorative justice series," I was like, "What? A what?" Like I'd never heard this term. I had no idea what it was. And I thought I knew everything about justice. Oh, I know everything about justice. I'd never heard about this. And it has completely blown my
Yeah.
mind apart,
It's so logical.
right? It's
Totes
so
obs, like you're
fucking logical.
saying.
It just goes to show how brainwashed we are from the
Yeah.
moment we're born until we have our day of enlightenment. We just are we are constantly being told how these systems work for us, and they don't. They don't. And the people that put them in place millennia ago, whenever it was, thousands of years ago, whenever it was, those practices are rooted in evil
Yeah.
men practices.
We're still doing it.
Mine,
It's
mine,
like,
mine, mine,
it's
mine,
not
mine, mine.
working.
And we still do it because it's just tradition. It is
Oh,
insanity.
yeah.
We're in
Yeah.
what is the definition of insanity? When you keep trying to do
We've been doing it.
you're
We've
doing
been
the same
doing
thing
it.
over
It's
and over
not
again,
working.
and
Yeah.
you expect a different result. You're not gonna get it. But honestly, T, the whole point is it's working exactly how it was designed to work. It just ain't for us.
Yeah.
It ain't for human beings.
Yeah.
That's what's fucked. Why do people keep protecting it?
Because it's those people in power, they like it. They want it.
Yeah. Rip it. We need to rip it down, and it's gonna happen.
I don't know.
I feel like, no, a revolution is coming.
It's scary out there right now, right?
I know it's scary right now, but people are more awake and paying attention than they ever have before. Okay?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah, yeah.
hope. We're gonna rip this motherfucker down. And years from now, history will look back on this time and go, that is when the people awoke and took back the power for once, finally, one time in humanity. There's been blips of it, but now we have the internet, and so we are all drawn together. If the French Revolution of 1789 had been televised, if it had been on Twitter, it would have sparked a wildfire. This time right now, there has to be a revolution of ideas. Like, we can't just get out old Trumpy boy and Elon and then just continue on. Like, it's not just them. These systems that have been set up to oppress us for, these thousands of years need to be dismantled completely. Like, I'm talking about a real revolution and not one where it's like, "Oh god, AOC is gonna be president." Like, we need to get money out of politics completely. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to, like, rip it. We need to burn it to the ground and start again. Is anyone listening to this?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show where podcasts are kept. Please rate and review us. Thanks to Jennifer for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to the whole This Is Actually Happening team and all those people. Especially thank you to Cathy Sitzes, who is just such a wonderful part of our team. And we thank you, Cathy, for what you do and how you have to deal with dealing with our voices. If anyone's heard us the most, it's probably Cathy, which makes me sad a little bit.
I feel so bad for her.
Please subscribe to us on YouTube. How many followers do we have now, T? What, 13, 14, something?
I think it's up to maybe 16.
What? Okay, cool. We're on Instagram. You can email us. We are trauma bonded to the story, to the storyteller, to the listeners, and to each other. Thank you for spending time with us today. I love you, T.
Love you, Ellie.